All
So he's
right. Welcome, everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to give you a couple of moments to get started with Zoom and make sure everyone can filter in. We have quite a few people who are signed up for this webinar, so we'll probably get started in 2 to 3 minutes as we see the attendee level level off. But very excited to be with you here today. My name is Mario Ubalde. I'm the Director of Customer Success for SizeUp. Just bear with us for a little bit, and then we will go ahead and get everything started with some lead-off comments from Paul. So just a few more minutes as we see the participants filter in. And it looks like we've leveled off. So Paul, if you want to get us started, be happy to hear from you.
Great, and thank you. Good afternoon and welcome, everyone. On behalf of Avista, the Inland Northwest Partners, and the Inland Northwest Economic Alliance, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I am Paul Kimmel, Regional Business Manager at Avista and Board Chair of the Inland Northwest Partners. Like all of you, Avista is committed to helping small business move forward in this time with tools, information that we need to get smarter and more resilient about how we help drive this recovery and repurpose ourselves due to these impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of this effort, and I explained this last time to our mentors, the Inland Northwest Partners and Avista have launched a new business intelligence tool called SizeUpInlandNW to better support small and medium-sized businesses within the Inland Northwest region. And it can support you in a number of ways, and that's why we're here today. So I want to thank you for being here. And in partnership with SizeUp and Mario, we're presenting this webinar to help you understand the power of this tool, as well as give you some ideas of how it might help your business or help your organization members, whether you're a chamber, an EDC, or community. So with that, I want to introduce Mario from SizeUp and let you take off. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul, for the very kind introduction. So before we get started with the demo, I want to make sure that I'm able to provide some context for you. So SizeUp is a small business analytics tool. And while it's been designed for small businesses, it gives you access to the same types of business analytics that your really large businesses would use. You're a national burger chain, your international department store and retailer, or some of those large e-commerce companies. This gives you access to the same type of data and information they use to help them optimize their business decision-making. The difference is they have either had in-house analysts that they pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary and benefits to, or they work with some of those large consulting companies to pay them hundreds and sometimes even millions of dollars to help them with this. SizeUp, however, is designed to be used by you. It's designed to be used by you in terms of its simplicity, which we'll cover in just a moment, and also at the time that you need it. Many owner-operators or entrepreneurs are so busy during their normal Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, or sometimes even 7 to 7 grinds, that they need access to this type of information on the evenings and on the weekends, which is the time that they have planned to do analysis on their existing business or to plan for their new business that they're looking to start. So as I mentioned, we've designed this to be simple. You don't have to have an advanced degree in quantitative analytics or an MBA to use our tool. You just need to know 2 things: what you do and where you do it. And I believe that that's a fair ask for anyone who's looking to start a business. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now. And you're going to see that SizeUp is available on the Inland Northwest Partners website 24/7. And as mentioned before, it is designed to be simple. So the only thing you have to do is enter the industry that you're talking about. So in this case, we were talking about competing with burger restaurants. And I'm going to choose a different city for some of the demonstrations so that we can show you how SizeUp works across all of the service territories where SizeUp is available. So let's go ahead and look at Lewiston, Idaho, and click Save. Now, I cheated here a little bit earlier because we were looking at values, But as I mentioned, the only thing that you need to know is what you want to do and where you want to do it. So in this case, some people may do back of the napkin type analysis. If you're an entrepreneur, you may say, hey, I'm going to sell 1,000 burgers a day. They're going to be $3 per burger. And you get the idea. You're looking at, say, around $900,000. Now, obviously, you could be selling shakes and fries and other things. But a lot of entrepreneurs are just going to do this analysis this way. If you're an existing business, you only know what's happening with your business. So let's go ahead and we'll plug in those $3,000 worth of burger sales a day. Oops. And we'll go a little bit higher than 900,000. And we'll actually get a plot to see how your $900,000 a year burger restaurant is sizing up relative to the other businesses in that industry. So you think, wow, almost $1 million a year, I must be really successful. But the reality is you're in the 19th% of burger restaurants in Lewiston. Now, what you are seeing, though, is we're not just showing you Lewiston because we don't know what your business plan is. We don't know what you think your trade area is. We're providing you answers to the questions that matter to your specific and unique business. So Lewiston is actually almost 1.3 for a burger restaurant, a little bit less in the county. And then in the MSA, which crosses both Washington and Idaho, you're seeing the values there. So super, super valuable information just from entering one piece of data. As you know, if you're Joe's burger stand, you can't go to Joanne's burger stand or Fred's coffee stand or burger shop or whatever it may be to get this type of information. So you want to be able to find objective data to help you understand how either your existing business is performing, or if you're in an entrepreneurial situation, how you'd want to perform as part of the average in that industry. Now, you're going to notice that these are considerations here. Each business is unique. So we're not telling you what to do. We're saying that depending on whether you're a startup or an established business, you may want to consider some of the factors in your business's success. You'd also want to look at what are the trends within this industry. So you think, my gosh, burger restaurants, that's a fairly well-developed industry. I can't imagine lots of new burger restaurants are starting. But at a national level, there's still quite a few starts of burger restaurants. And maybe we're not interested in the national. Maybe we want to know what's happening at the state level or the metro level or the city or county. So you can see there are still burger restaurants, 1 or 2 starting each year, and you can start to see those trends. Now that's very different than what you'd see if you were looking at, say, I don't know, horseshoeing or movie and DVD rentals, which are businesses that are not opening. And you'd probably see that trailing on down to the right as those type of businesses are no longer being opened. Why does this matter? You want to know that the business that you're operating in is robust and that there's room for more. So one of the other challenges that you may have as a small business is the question around how much are you paying your employees? Is it competitive? Are you in a situation where you can, of course, keep your valuable, trained, skilled employees? So if I was guessing on a salary, I'd say, oh, let's put in $20,000. That seems like a lot. And in fact, it's right above average for your area. This can impact you in so many different ways, including retention. Let's talk about that a little bit more in the future so we have context for how salary may impact our employees. The other thing you can see on the salary is where people are getting paid that level of money. So you can actually see that people are getting paid slightly less over here on the Idaho side than they are in the Washington side. So there's more tools to discuss and kind of dive deeper into some of these with a larger map. So we'll cover some of these in the next tool section. So you have your revenue, you have how much you're paying your employees. How many employees do you have? Maybe you're, again, a slightly smaller business because you're not generating the revenue that some of those other ones. Maybe you're just starting out. So I think we can all agree 10 people is definitely a small business. And in reality, that's a tremendously small burger restaurant. The average burger restaurant in Lewiston is going to have 27 employees. Now, this is all a live demo where we're super crunching millions of data points in real time. So you can see I'm saying I have 10 people. It's 27. We're actually a third under the average restaurant. Now, a little bit higher than you can see 23 for the state as an average, but perhaps this is a more dense area and businesses have a little bit more velocity in terms of the number of customers. So at this point, we've been asking all these questions of you, all 4 big questions about how your business or your prospective business is going to perform. We can now take this information and start to triangulate helpful information for you so that you can understand how you are performing. So if we look at cost effectiveness, even though we are below average in terms of average business revenue, because we have so fewer employees, we're actually superior in terms of cost effectiveness. We're 105% of the average business in terms of cost effectiveness, which you can see here. So all of this information can be really valuable as you start to plan how your business is performing. Maybe your business model is fewer employees and lower income, but that's your business model. And that's why these are considerations, not recommendations. We can also look at revenue per capita or local turnover. So in this particular industry category, the burger restaurant business, you'd expect to see almost 20% of your workforce turning over annually. So if you have that average of 27 or almost 30, you'd be expecting to lose 6 workers per year. And that can be a real challenge to recruit and then train those new workers every single year. In this case of a 10-person burger restaurant, maybe your model's different and you're only losing 1 person. That's a 10th of your workforce and you're really frustrated. But using objective data can show you that you're doing really well because you're paying over the average. You're only losing 1 person out of 10, whereas this average restaurant would expect to lose 2 people. So Size Up doesn't tell you whether you're good or bad. It helps contextualize the data and turn it into actionable information for you. We could also look at healthcare costs and workers' comp so you could understand how you're performing. And these are fairly straightforward. I invite you to play with the tool and look into it. But this is where Size Up can get very powerful. If you're an existing business or you're an entrepreneur, you can click Summary View and you're going to get a dashboard of all of the inputs into your business so you can start running through different scenarios to understand how a change in one of your inputs can then represent itself on the outputs on other ends. So let's say that you do want to expand your existing location. So you do want to add a few employees. You'll see that you're at 105% cost effectiveness. If we add some employees in, you'll see that it only goes from 105 to 71. But let's work under the assumption that you're not going to add employees unless they're also adding to the bottom line. So let's go ahead and increase your revenue to 1.2 million. And then you can see how it changes in terms of the bottom line. Now you're actually above where you were because maybe your business model works in this current context. So this is the competition or my business tool. It's here on the first tab and it's designed to give you objective data so that you can look at the performance of your business or the business you're planning on starting through the lens of data to contextualize how you're performing and the things that you may want to change or improve about your existing business. So let me just pause there and ask if there are any questions or chat. I'm looking at the chat panel in the Q&A and I don't see any right now. But if you're chatting with one of our other moderators, do let me know. I'm also checking to see if anyone put their hands up and I don't see that. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to the next tool in our Size Up toolbox. But at any time, please don't hesitate to ask me a question via the Q&A or chat and I will answer it. So let's go ahead and look at a couple of different things that are really important to small businesses, which are what are the spatial relationships of my business to the other businesses in my industry, my prospective customers, as well as my supply chain. So right now we're looking in Lewiston but maybe we're thinking we have a successful model here, but maybe let's go look at Pullman, Washington, right? Just give it a second. Okay, so we've changed to Pullman. We think that the characteristics in this market is maybe a place that I want to expand to. Maybe I have multiple locations in the Inland Northwest, and I'm trying to understand the competitive landscape here. So now what we've done is we've mapped all of the burger restaurants in Pullman and Moscow, and we can begin to find out a little bit more about them, because maybe I'm competing with Static Burger, maybe I'm competing with McDonald's. But you know, something that happens, and I know this from experience, is you don't always just get your burger from a burger restaurant, right? Maybe you get your burger from a diner. Or maybe your burger restaurant is a really high-end burger restaurant. You're selling organic, free-range beef, you know, or those cows that get massaged and fed beer, so they're very tender. And so you're not really competing with these type of industries, but you're actually competing with steakhouses, for example. Size Up lets you define what your market is, your competitors, your prospective clients. And why does this matter? Because every business is unique, and we want to give you the tools to analyze the uniqueness of your value proposition. So now we've defined burgers, diners, and also steakhouses. And you can find out more information about your competitors. And you define the market. So we're showing Pullman in Moscow, but if you think that yours is a special restaurant, people are going to drive around for quite some ways, you can go ahead and then zoom in or zoom out to find out more information on them. Or if you are more tabularly focused, instead of clicking on the map like this, you can actually click here on the left-hand side and get information. Now, that's about your competitors, but you also need to know about who you're selling to. And I'm making this up as I go, and I don't see any chat messages, so I'm going to go with my completely fictional, super high-end burger restaurant with Kobe beef hamburgers. So I'm going to assume that I want to sell to people that have lots of money for my $25 organic burgers, you know. And so now I just mapped all of the law firms in Pullman, Washington. And why does this matter? Because you want to understand the relationship between your competitors and your potential customers. And if you're marketing, wouldn't it be nice to not just have a list, but to have information on the type of lawyers that are there, how many lawyers they have, so you can just click on this link, go to that lawyer's website. If you were in a different business, let's say you were in the construction business, you could look up so commercial, you know, again, air conditioning, warm air heating equipment, commercial industrial equipment. You could look up whatever you want, including, there we go. Sorry, there we go, commercial banks, because you need to get funding for your new construction business. All of these use cases are going to be different depending on what part of the life cycle your business or entrepreneurial activity are, and what you see as your potential marketing area, your potential partners, your potential customers. So in this case, we've mapped attorneys. Maybe we also want to map banks, all right? So now we've mapped all of this information, and you can add or subtract as many industries as you want, get information about them. And I mentioned that we were going to show you some really powerful maps. So let's go ahead and let's look at consumer spending in the category that we're looking at. Now, I know this may be seen kind of silly to look at food away from home right now in the midst of a pandemic, but as my grandmother said to me, this too shall pass. So at some point, we're going to assume that people are going to go back into restaurants. So again, we have a high-end burger place, so maybe people are coming there for dinner, although we could look for lunch, but we don't have to limit ourselves. Let's go ahead and look at lunch expenditures, and we're going to zoom out. So before we were just looking kind of deeply into that area. Now we're looking here at the zip codes in the red area here, which you can see have totals of 300 to 8.5 million. You can also see areas further south where the expenditures are a little bit less. So as we head down to Colton, we're looking at 180 to 259. Now these are totals. So these may be denser areas that are more populated as we go up to Colfax and other places. So maybe what we want to look at is not density, but rather the average household expenditures. You can see that by clicking on the averages right here, it'll completely redraw the map. So it's showing the type of analysis that is best suited for what you think your business is doing. So we've been here in Pullman and you're like, well, that's great, but what about people from Moscow? That's perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and put in that particular community and you can see the same information, both in terms of benchmarking. So now you can see how your burger restaurant's going and the difference between Lewiston or Moscow or Pullman, or you can look at the very specific characteristics of burger sales on the other side of the state line. So SizeUp will not always give you the answer that you think you want in a particular part of the tool. Sometimes you're going to use the various different aspects in SizeUp to hone in on the answer that you're looking for. So whether this metropolitan region combined is the right place to power the success of your business. So we're looking at customers, we were looking at competitors. It doesn't matter whether you're a fancy burger restaurant or a drive-through In-N-Out style burger. Everyone needs things like cups and napkins and things of that nature. So let's go ahead and look at near sourcing. Why does this matter? You may not be able to get the things that you need, the cups, the plates, the linen services for your restaurant because the places that were making it in India or Vietnam or China, their factories may be shut down because of the pandemic. So why don't you identify specific local businesses that understand how you're operating, that are in your community, that can get you what you need when you need it. And that's where the supply chain, the supplier tool will come in. It'll show you the information that you need. And then of course you can always go in and get a little bit more information of them, from them in the same way that you did with your customers. So that's the second tool.
Sorry, Mario, just quick question. We did have somebody ask if this is being recorded. And yes, it is. And we can get that recording out to people following this presentation.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Paul and Sandra. Good luck with whatever you're moving on to. So, so this is an example. So we do have another tool here, which is the advertising tool. Let me go ahead and I'm just checking. I don't see any hands or other Q&A. So I'm going to move on to the advertising tool. And this is an advertising tool. Now we call it the advertising tool, but really this is a trade area analysis. This is a market analysis for you. So we've been looking at how your business is competing against other businesses in the categories. And then we're looking at the geospatial context, right? The businesses that compete with you, the businesses that are potential customers and your suppliers. But now you need to market yourself, which all businesses do. This tool is going to allow you to determine what your particular trade area is, and then optimize where you are marketing. So I think this is a perfectly good way to look at this. I want to find out where the best places to advertise in the Moscow area are based on total revenue. This is the show me the money method of advertising, right? Where's the most money? A completely valid way for Jerry Maguire and for you to think about it. But we can also add filters in. So you can see that maybe, again, this is a special burger restaurant. Maybe people will drive for 60 miles or an hour around to see it. And as you adapt these filters, you see we've gone from a few to now 15 different areas that might be optimal. And as we said, we were interested in, attracting people with higher expenditures and income. So let's go ahead and crank that household income up to say 40,000. And now you see we've narrowed it down further. So now we've gone from 15 places to 4 zip codes that match our criteria. And we could do even more things than that, right? Let's say that we were trying to focus not on income, but families. Maybe this is a burger restaurant with a playscape. So we could change the median ages to 20 to, 45. And you'll see that SizeUp will super crunch millions of data points in mere seconds to get you the information about the zip codes where you can market. And they'll tell you specifically the type of information relative to your filter. So this is showing you that median age. So if you want to target more on the 40-year-old side, you'd be here in Lewiston, Idaho, 83501. Whereas if you want to be more on that 21-year side, and maybe that's because there's a university in this area, you'd be in Moscow, 83843. But it's up to you to determine what your particular use case is for this information and then optimize it. And you can take this information, and as you know, you can go into Facebook ads or Google ads or Apple ads, or you can say, I know this community and there's a student paper or there's a community newspaper, and I can advertise on billboards, community papers, whatever it may be within that area. So this information is very, very powerful, and it allows you to show the areas based on your criteria. Now, we're looking at this in a very specific way, which is you're serving a local community. As we know, during the pandemic, a lot of things have changed. Businesses that we used to think were just serving our local community might be sending products elsewhere throughout the US. So I want to show you one really important change that we at SizeUp with our partners have been able to make for you in the past year, which is, and I'm going to change this right now. I'm going to talk about a little bit of a story. There were some miners in a more rural community that was focused on extraction. So we're talking about lumber mills, mining, taking things and then sending it off to be made into products. During the pandemic, you don't want to be trapped in a small tunnel breathing the same air as someone else. So these miners also had a hobby group where they did woodworking on the weekends. They were furloughed as part of the pandemic, and they started making outdoor furniture. And I'm going to go back over here just so we can kind of run through this. So they started making outdoor furniture. And I'm going to move to Spokane just so we can get a slightly denser area. And what they did, as you can imagine, is they made all the furniture that was necessary for the businesses in their local area. Because it was more rural, the 12-county area was quickly filled up with all of the businesses using their furniture that they needed because everyone was sitting outside right now, the restaurants, everything else. Well, they used our tool to advertise, but they were limited to, we used to be 102 miles. We have now extended that tool to nationwide. So using their example, they started marketing not just outdoor furniture, but outdoor playscapes for families with kids that needed something to do in their backyard. Because, and I didn't know this at the time, a lot of information, or not information, a lot of those products, the outdoor furniture, playgrounds, and everything else, that's made not in China, which I would have guessed, but in Vietnam and India, which had already shut down their factories. So this was, again, following the age, let's say 20 to 45. And this was high-end, handcrafted, wood playground furniture. So they were focused on households with a higher income level. So let's say 75,000. And you notice what happens. Well, there are no zip codes that match this specific type of business in this metro area. But that's okay, because you used to think that you were just a local business. I have news for you. You might be a nationwide supplier. So now you're not just marketing to your local community. You also now, if you are manufacturing goods or products, or maybe even remote and virtual services, you now can focus your marketing wherever you think it's most successful based on the criteria that you set. So you're not just marketing to Lewiston or Coeur d'Alene or Post Falls or Nampa or Boise or Ellensburg or I'm going to quit showing off my knowledge of the Pacific Northwest. But you're marketing now to New York, and Bethesda, Maryland, and Yorba Linda, and Studio City, and Natick, Massachusetts, and Foxborough, who is not in the Super Bowl for the first time in a while, thank goodness. Fairfield, New Jersey, you get the idea. So it's completely customizable based on what you think your trade area is and where your product can best sell. So those are the three main characteristics of SizeUp, and you can do it on total revenue or underserved markets or whatever type of analysis you want to do to power the success of your business, both in terms of where to advertise, to understand the spatial relationships between your competition, your customers and your suppliers, and of course, look at the competitiveness of your business through the lens of objective data. Whether you're in outdoor furniture, burgers, or if you're like me, you just need a good cup of coffee because you have a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they are working at home on their schoolwork while you're trying to lead presentations to help the Northwest Inland partners power their success of their businesses in the area. So let me pause at this time, look at questions and Q&A, and then Paul and I, Melanie, can dive in and answer any questions that you have. And Paul, I can say this without doubt, this is the first time I have seen no questions. Oh, someone just raised their hand. Shelly, if you can go ahead and ask your question in chat, or if you're comfortable, I can press this button and allow you to join the audio portion of this meeting. So feel free to speak or type your message in. You raised your hand in the chat function, and I can answer your question.
Unmute.
Okay, great.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank you for bringing the tool to us. I work in the real estate business, and I will help you sell this tool.
Well, thank you. And I do appreciate you selling the tool. Unfortunately, it's free. So
well, no, that's what I meant. Promote your tool. Promote your tool.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I will reward you with my sincere thanks.
Thank you.
And $5 will get you a token on the New York subways, I think what they say. But that's very kind of you to say that. We really hope this is helpful, not just to you, but also to the people that you work with, especially if you're in commercial real estate. I'm sure this can be a very valuable tool for you to help your clients analyze their market opportunities.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Shelley. Hey, Mario, there was a question about where you source the data, where you pull the data from.
Yes, so anonymous attendee, I'm happy to answer your question. So we actually have a whole, hundreds of data sources. And so I can talk a little bit about that process. Each of the data sources that you see here come from the national data vendors. They're the same ones that power the base level data on Google Maps, Bing Maps, or whatever Microsoft's calling it now, Apple Maps. And of course, we all do our additional things. So Google drives their cars around and captures video. We take that information, make sure that it's statistically relevant, and then we present that information. The business data that you see here on the competition tool, it's updated every 3 months. So if you have changes in your business, the market is reacting to that. So you can always come in and say, I'm making more money, I'm making less money, how has my ranking changed every 3 months? The business information here is also updated every 3 months, and things like consumer expenditures, this information is updated twice annually in the summer and the fall. So you can just let me know if there's a specific type of data point that you're looking for. The information that we get, for instance, on turnover comes from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's updated annually, or at least it should be. Sometimes there are budget issues in Washington that cause that information to get pushed out a little bit. So different aspects of our application are updated at different times. But we keep it up to date, so you're always looking at up-to-date information as well. All right. Let me see. Sorry, a lot of questions are now coming in. Can this data be exported for someone wanting to include the business plan report? Absolutely. So if you're looking at this right now, you can actually see that this is the chart view of this data, and you could just take a screenshot of it. It's as easy as print screen on a PC, or well, you get the idea. I just took a screenshot of that if you were putting that into a business plan or report, or if you just want to cut and paste this into Excel. These are all tables built by W3C standards, or World Wide Web Consortium standards. So you can take this, copy it, and then paste it into Excel, and then do analysis if you need to. Similar to anything, if I was looking at this particular map, I forget the exact, I'm sorry, I'm working on a Mac right now, but you actually can just save it as a PDF. And I think, if I'm going to be so bold as to try to switch my screen in the middle of a presentation. I hope what you're seeing right now is I just saved the information as a PDF. And then of course you can take that and then put it into some other information as necessary. I think on a PC it's file print and then you save as a PDF or print to PDF. But all of your modern operating systems have that functionality. So I hope that answers that question. We put where the data is pulled live from. And yes, so those are all the Q&A I see. Let me go back to the chat. And let me see if there were more questions there. So questions about Silver Valley area. So sure. So one of the things that I should point out is that we have what's called heuristic search. So you don't have to worry about what type of business you're in. So you see if you put in hotel, you're going to get everything from retirement apartments and hotels, rooming houses, hotels and motels. You get the idea. And we even have the ampersand. So if you don't know the difference between hotel, if you type in the and symbol as opposed to and, we'll just put those categories up there and then you can go ahead and find them. So if I was interested in, say, starting a hotel, you could go ahead and put that category in. And if you wanted to look at, say, Kellogg, and in real time, it will generate that information for you. So apparently we're undershooting the vitality of the lodging business in the Kellogg area. So just as an example, let's bump this up to 1 million, just so our data looks a little bit more normal. And what this is showing you on this heat map is, again, annual business revenue by zip code. But if you wanted to zoom out further, we'll actually go to the county level. And then because you are in a border area between really 2 different or 3 different states, you can actually zoom out farther and start to see those heat maps at a state level. So you can zoom in and zoom out of the maps. Now, obviously this is a smaller map, but if you go over to the competition tool, you can get a little bit more information, a little bit more granular. So it's a bigger map. And I should point this out. You notice here the tabs right here for the type of industries that you're looking at. This is a fully responsive design application. So if you're like, oh, this is a great tool, but boy, I'm planning on starting my new business at my current job and I can't let anyone see me working on this while I'm still getting a paycheck. You can go ahead and head to the break room or the bathroom, pull out your iPhone, and you'll see that you'll be able to use our tool. So we were looking at hotels. We can add other industries like, what was the other one? Rooming houses, or perhaps you're looking at resorts. And then you'll see that you have both the list here and the map here. So if you want to look at Morningstar Lodge, you can click that information. Or again, if you are map driven, and you can see we have the entire US data set, you could dive into here and then click on specific points to get that information. So it is a fully responsive design and you can use it wherever and however you want. So that's an example of hotels and motels around Kellogg, Idaho. And you'll see that in terms of customers or suppliers, you can go ahead and define those type of characteristics there and optimize it for your particular use case. So any industry that you want, you can put in here. It will provide that list for you. One of the things I found out, of course, is industrial hygiene, or what we used to call janitor services, is a big business right now because it's a fairly low cost of entry. And a lot of these businesses, it's really interesting, are undersupplied. But right now you can get an online certification in industrial hygiene, buy some equipment and start cleaning offices after someone has a coronavirus. So you can come in here and find out how much they're making, what the total trend is in the industry, what the average amount of employees are. You get the idea. It's whatever you think matches your particular business plan, frankly. So again, we were just looking at hotels, but we could also look at, let me see, why don't we go over to the Silver Valley and let's look at, so let's look at, everyone's moving to these beautiful areas. So let's look at residential building construction in, oh, I went to Oregon. I'm crazy that way. I was forgetting the cities that we were looking at, but you get the idea. We can go ahead and look at any city that matches our criteria, and you can see it on the map, and then you can go ahead and perform that type of analysis. So were there any other questions or chat that I may have missed, Melanie or Paul?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. Well, again, I'm happy to help if there's some scenarios people wanted to run through, but I think probably people are more excited about not really revealing their secret plans to take over the local economy with their new businesses. So what I am going to do is, just in case people don't have it, I just cut and pasted the information about how you can get directly to the SizeUp tool on the Inland Northwest Partners website. And that obviously has other information, but you can just click right here on this link and it'll take you to the application. There's a quick video. And one of the things that we'll be doing is we'll be adding to this page shortly. The training that you just had, we're going to go ahead and slice and dice it, make it a little bit shorter than an hour, so that if you forget any of this, you can run through that demonstration. And then late at night, when you've had your cup of coffee too, you can start doing the analysis on your business or the business that you're thinking about starting.
Hey, Mario, and thank you for being on that page. Just to let people know, there under the need help section, there is a link to some mentor help. So we're very grateful to have some of our business partners, economic development organizations, libraries, other business advocacy groups get trained as mentors. So if you click on that, you'll see right there, thank you, some of the people that have been trained or are willing to help you reach out to, and there should be live links for all of them as well.
There you go. There's quite a few. Did you want me, in Northern Idaho, you can click here and it will pop up your email client so that you can reach out to all of these people. And I don't know if they're seeing it on my screen, but absolutely.
Yep. All right. Good.
If there's nothing else, then I certainly am happy to give everyone 15 minutes back in their day, but also happy to answer any additional questions.
So again, we'll make this recording available to everybody as well. And I think, Mario, we're talking with you all about one more additional webinar sometime in the near future. So again, thank you. It looks like maybe one. I'm not seeing any more questions here. Nope, it's just a thank you, great tool. So with that, I think let's give people some of their time back. And Mario, it's always good to work with you, and we're really excited to have this tool available out here in Eastern Washington, North Idaho, and soon we'll be working on some of our Southern Oregon partners and customers there too. So watch for more details on that. So with that, thank you. Thanks everybody for attending. There's our Southern Oregon advocate right there. Thank you, Steve, a cheerleader. But anyway, have a great afternoon, and don't be bashful about asking for help with this. We want you to be successful. So with that, thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Everyone stay safe. Bye-bye.